Yeah, this is pretty much based on the theme. I'd say it would definitely be, but this story is about one of our high five tours. This one where we went to Jakarta. We didn't really know what was in store for us. We got told what we were doing, but anyway, I'll get into the story. So most of our flights are international flights that leave from Australia at night, so we could have a nice sleep on the flight. High Five had this deal with Malaysian Airlines where we would do their commercials and they would give us business class to any international destination. So we all got to lie flat on the plane, which was all we used to all love doing that and getting a lot of sleep or whatever. But when we landed in Jakarta, we've got off the plane as you do after our 8 hour flight. We looked like we just got off an 8 hour flight, and our car liaison runs up to us and she goes, "Okay, you guys ready?" And we're like, "For what? To go to the hotel?" And she goes, "No, are you guys ready? You're going on live TV right now." And we look, and just outside the airport, there's this camera crew with the lighting and everything. I'm in, $6 track pants from Kmart, and I'm just thinking, oh my God. So we rip open our suitcases and we quickly go to the bathroom and get changed. And yeah, we just get put on the spot and we do this live interview, not really knowing what was going to happen. This story just isn't about this interview. This sort of starts it off. It's about the whole Jakarta tour and just how crazy it was. So this interview sort of set the scene for it. We did the interview. We thought it was crazy. And this tour consisted of live shows like it always did, but also a lot of television shows like Indonesian, late night shows and stuff like that, which was super cool, really, really cool thing to happen. We get to our first gig on the day, I think it was the following day or the day after a rest day. And it struck us like we've toured a lot of Asian countries before, but none were quite like, we were never received as well as this. It was like One Direction were in the mall. It was crazy. When we walked in, people were grabbing at us and pinching us. I don't know if that's a thing, but they were they were pinching us and trying to grab us and all this stuff. And we got thrown on live TV again right before we did the show and gave these interviews, and we didn't really, know what was going to happen, but we did it. We got through it, and we loved it. We loved every second. And with these TV shows, we'd be backstage for whatever TV show it was, and I had my guitar. So what shows love, like if we did the morning show here on Channel 9, that like me to play the guitar and us to sort of harmonize, just the voices and guitar. But we weren't quite sure what was going to happen with some of these Indonesian TV shows, and we were sort of wigging out of it because we were on TV. One of them, we were supposed to do LOVE, love. So I had my guitar and I tuned it up and I was ready, and I'm standing there with my guitar, and then the backing track starts playing on live TV. And I took my guitar off and danced it to the corner, and I put it down, and then I sort of danced back and, did the song. It was just, we remember walking off like many different sets, just going, that was just the craziest time. Like we just couldn't believe what was happening. We were meeting all these different people, doing lots of those TV shows. But again, the live shows were the really, really crazy parts. And one of the live shows we did, it was pandemonium. It was crazy. It was like, and like I said, like we're well received in other countries, but it's usually just someone, running up and, wanting a picture with us. And we're like, hey, okay, we'll see you later at the show, and walking around like normal. But that was not the case in Jakarta. We got in the van. By the way, our vans had pictures of us, like, so you couldn't see in, but you could see all of us out. And there was, or we could all see out. And there was a really funny moment where this kid pulled up and he was waving at the van, and my face happened to be on my window. So if my face was this, I managed to wind the window down and just do that and wave at him. So I think you really like that. But that was on the way to a show, and they'd meet us. We do mall shows. That was the main venue over there, malls. And that malls in Indonesia, it's like this culture. You go to the mall not just because you need something or whatever. People just go to the mall because they're so beautiful and extravagant. They're really, really good malls. But the sad thing is, there's poverty like meters away. I remember we walked around between shows one time, and there was a village that was struggling to get water and all this stuff. But then right next door is this multi-million-dollar mall where you can go and spend all your money on arcades or whatever. So this one particular show, we had the security sort of holding a person link so no one could get through to us while we were getting onto the stage. And it was even crazier than we'd ever seen before. It was really weird. And we get on the stage and kids are loving it. And it's the best because kids just dance and get into it and have a lot of fun. So that's always great for us. But we get through the second number and then Lockie goes, "Okay, guys, thanks very much. That's all we have time for." And we all look back at Lockie and we take lead, because if one of us says something like that, obviously we've gotten the neck or something like that. And we told we had to stop the live show because it was so crazy that kids were getting like trampled and hurt in the audience. So it was really, really awful. It was one of those things we couldn't believe. And I remember being backstage and it really sort of hit me hard. It hit all of us hard because when you do those shows, one of those kids, it might be their birthday present to come and see High Five, and then we don't even get to do the full show for them, and people are getting hurt, and it was really, really horrible. But I could, Lockie and I, we were talking and we were really sad, but we could see some kids that were like up in the upper tiers of the mall and they could see into where we were. And we were having fun and waving with them. But then on top of everything, our cast liaison comes in and he goes, "Do you guys have your passports? The police are here." And I'm thinking, bro, this isn't the time. Like we just had to let down a whole audience, not being able to do the full show. Don't joke around. And he's like, "No, I'm serious. The cops are here. Do you have your passports?" And we were like, "No, they're in our safes in our hotel room. We don't carry our passports around." And then the police came, and basically the rule in Jakarta is you have to have valid ID at all times. And if you're an international, the only valid ID you can really hold is your passport. So they held us, they took us back into this other room where they held us, captive, me and the High Five gang, because we didn't have our passports until someone could go back to the hotel and grab them. And the only one that had her passport on her was Bailey. So we just had to kind of make sure Bailey was safe while we sit in this room with these policemen, and they still wanted to get photos with us and everything. They were just like, "You can't leave. You're not allowed to leave." And I don't know, that was just the craziest time on tour. And I don't know, our kind of, peaceful protest, because I still had my guitar, is all of us were just sitting around the table with the policeman there, and we were just singing "I Shot the Sheriff," Bob Marley. And that was that's one of the craziest tours I'll ever remember. And Bailey ended up it took about 3 hours because of the traffic in Jakarta, but she ended up coming back with all our passports and we ended up being let out. But yeah, from kids being trampled and too many people and making sure it was safe, and then us being, I don't know, possibly getting deported. We didn't really know what was going on. We just sort of had to make do with what we could. And yeah, that was the craziest tour story, I'm pretty sure, from High Five.